Today, I'm gonna try to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Violet, but I'll only be allowed to use the random Pokemon that I get back from Surprise Trade. If you don't know, Surprise Trade is basically the Omegle of Pokemon, but instead of disturbing video chats with weird people, it's more like disturbing Pokemon trades with, well, weird people. Sometimes the results can be amazing, and other times, Igglybuff. Yeah. We kick off our journey through Paldea, and before long, we've caught a sacrificial ham, saved a Robo Dino, and arrived at the first Pokemon Center, which is where we unlock Surprise Trade. To kick this run off, we'll be allowing ourselves to start off with 2 initial Surprise Trades, then we'll be getting 1 additional trade after every gym we defeat. We start our trades by sending our Quaxly into the Great Beyond. And a quick... Ooh, Silly Cobra. I'll take a Silly Cobra. I don't think that's so bad. Let's check. Let's see what the level is. Level 26, we gotta retrade that one. Unfortunately, on our first couple attempts, we end up with some overleveled Pokemon. But not to worry, in this challenge, I'm allowed to trade any overleveled Pokemon out for new ones that we can actually use. Bring me something that I can use, please. Ooh, what is that thing called? It's called Tinkatink? Yes, okay, we got one. Ooh, and an Ultra, ooh, an Eevee. The possibilities are endless. It's gotta be level 1. Yeah. We take some time to carefully level up our new team, then head to the gates of Mesagoza, where we have a battle with Nemona. Thanks to the extra levels on Eevee, we're able to easily beat her, then head into school and on to face the first gym leader, Katie. But before we do that, we make sure to grab the Water Stone from behind the gym in Cascarafa, which we use to evolve our Eevee into a Vaporeon. Then we head back to kick off our gym challenge with a ceremonial olive roll. After rolling our way to victory, we can finally challenge the baddie Baker Katie. Thankfully, our early evolution of Vaporeon pays off, and we're able to use the relatively high power level of our fish dog and its water guns to easily sweep Katie without even having to get our little baby Tinky involved. Unfortunately, as we quickly realized, the next gym leader, Brassius, specializes in the grass type, so Vaporeon probably won't be quite as useful for that, which means we have to hope we get something good from our next surprise trade. Ooh! Yeah, that one is pretty good, but as you might expect, it's a little bit overleveled. Igglybuff. At first glance, you might think Igglybuff looks pretty bad, and you'd be right to think that. At this point, it's just a little stupid weak baby. But the good thing about it is that it's a friendship evolution, which means after we give it a couple nice washes and a good rub down to get really acquainted, we can evolve this little guy while only having to level it up a single time. But that's not all. After evolving it to a Jigglypuff, we can use a Moonstone to evolve it to its 3rd and final form, Wigglytuff. This is huge for our chances against Brassius, but unfortunately, before we're able to challenge the gym leader, we end up making a big mistake. As we're wrangling the Sunflora in the streets of Artisan, we accidentally overlevel our Tinkatink, which means we won't be able to use it against Brassius. And since Vaporeon is majorly weak to grass types, the burden of beating this gym basically falls all onto the shoulders of Wigglytuff. Thankfully, since Wigglytuff is a final evolution, it gets access to a ton of super powerful moves through the move reminder system. So we craft a perfect moveset, hand our Wigglytuff a big pile of old leftovers, then with our work cut out for us, we head in to face Brassius. A couple hyper voices from Wigglytuff is enough to take out his lead Petlil, and our leftovers keep our health topped up as we do the same to his second Pokemon Smoliv. Finally, he sends in his last Pokemon Sudowoodo, which is the scariest one on his team. Thankfully, it terastallizes into a grass type, which takes it from resisting our hyper voice to, well, not. That, combined with its relatively low special defense, make our attacks do some pretty decent damage. But unfortunately, his Trailblaze does a big chunk to our Wigglytuff in return. Not to worry though, after the first turn, this woody boy falls in love with our sexy little Wigglytuff thanks to its ability Cute Charm. From here, it ends up not being able to attack for the rest of the fight thanks to some good RNG. That means we're able to clean it up without risking dying to a critical hit. After adding another badge to the books, we get another surprise trade. Ooh, Scorbunny is insane. We nickname our new little kicker Messi, and with that super sweet acquisition, we head off to do some training, which allows us to evolve our rabbit. Then we head to Levincia to face Iono. But before we can take on the gym leader, we're interrupted by Nemona, who won't let us go any further without a battle. So we oblige and head outside to hopefully beat her. We lead with our Vaporeon, which is a perfect answer to her Rockruff. After a couple water guns, it goes down and she sends in Palmy. It's an electric type, so we swap to Wigglytuff Wigglytuff and trade a dig for a couple body slams as we take it out. Finally, she brings in her ace Crocalor, who terastallizes. We swap back to Vaporeon and spit on it with a couple super effective water guns. Unfortunately, it lands a yawn, which puts us to sleep and forces us to make a risky switch to Wigglytuff as we don't wake up in time to take it out. Wigglytuff just barely manages to survive a Terra-boosted Incinerate, and after a little bit of research, we realize that we are in fact slower than this little round crocodile, so we have to swap to Messi, who survives a round, then hits it with a double kick. That doesn't kill? What? Thankfully, it goes for a yawn, which allows us to take it out with another double kick on the second turn. With Nemona defeated, we're able to start the gym challenge before Iono, which is perfect because I've been meaning to practice my aim for CS2. After polishing up our aim, we can finally battle Iono. This battle is by far the biggest hurdle in the early game of Scarlet and Violet. Iono has 4 Pokemon, and her ace Mismagius is basically a levitating electric type with no weaknesses and crazy high special attack. Knowing this is going to be a challenge, we take our time and prepare. Unfortunately, the bulk of our team is either weak to the electric type like Vaporeon or a literal baby holding a rattle. Yeah, maybe Vaporeon wasn't the best evolution to choose as one of our first Pokemon. The general weakness of the rest of our team means that it's pretty much all up to Wigglytuff again. Fortunately, this pink puffball has a very diverse moveset that we can teach it through the move reminder system. We know that we're going to need longevity to be able to beat all 4 of Iono's Pokemon, so we decide to teach Wigglytuff Stockpile and Swallow to boost our defenses and have an option to heal in case things get dicey. We also teach it Light Screen to decrease the damage of Iono's special attacks even further. Then we bring our one damaging move, Body Slam. With our Wigglytuff as ready as it's gonna be, we head into battle. Turn 1 against her lead Wattrel, we start setting up our stockpile. But unfortunately, as we're doing this, we get paralyzed by the very first electric attack we get hit by. Nice! Fortunately, we do manage to get all 3 stockpiles set up and take out this bird without taking too much damage. Next up, Iono sends in her Belly Bolt. Unfortunately, every move we hit this thing with charges up its next attack with its ability Electromorphosis.
Border Slam. We're just going to continue to slam it with our bot. That did way more than I expected it to. Get that cute charm.
It takes us a few hits, but thanks to a little bit of lucky cute charm from our Wigglytuff, we make it through Belly Bolt without taking too much damage. From here, Iono sends in her Luxio, which in terms of damage isn't too threatening. The annoying thing is that it intimidates us and drops the damage of our body slams for the rest of the fight. After trading some blows, we decide it's time to cash in that stockpile, so we swallow our load and heal up to full HP. Then we set up stockpile again while taking an annoying amount of damage. So we kind of get stuck in this weird loop where we set up stockpile and take a bunch of damage while doing that, then swallow to heal it up. I'm starting to suspect that maybe this strategy isn't very good. We go through this endless loop a few more times, hoping to get Cute Charm to activate, but what I didn't know is that Game Freak thinks that girl Pokemon can't be attracted to other girl Pokemon, so our ability isn't going to work. So what we end up having to do is stall out all of its sparks, then it can only hit us with bites, which does way less damage since we resist it. This allows us to safely set up a stockpile, a light screen, and finish this thing off. With both of those things set up, we should take way less damage from this Mismagius's beefy special attacks. Unfortunately, instead of attacking, this thing puts us into paralysis confusion hell with a Confuse Ray. Only then does it start going for charge beams, which have a 50% chance to boost its special attack. With the boost being basically inevitable, we're put on a pretty serious clock here. Confuse Ray! God. Please, come on, please hit it. Yes. Kill. Oh no, we need one more. No boost. Oh, it's gotten 3 boosts. Please. Please. One time. I just need this last body slam to hit. One time. Ow. Oh, we have to swap after this, don't we? One time, one time. Yes! Yes! Gotcha. Whew, took us about an hour and a half, but we got it. After narrowly scraping out that victory, we get another surprise trade. Ooh, Gengar. There's no way that this, what a Chad though. Thank you, Chad. There's no way that this is within the level cap though, right? That would be absurdly powerful. It is, it's level 29. Oh my God.
That's absolutely insane.
With our newest and strongest Pokemon on the team, we head out to the desert outside of Cascarafa. Here we start battling as many trainers as we can. This helps our team level up, but also once we've defeated 5 of them, we're able to talk to the league rep beside the Pokemon Center and get the TM for Earthquake, which we save for a later date when we get a Pokemon who can actually make use of it. Then we head up to the gym to battle the local gym leader. But right when we pull up to beat that ass, he peels out and runs away. We chase him down to the town down the street where we win an auction, then we can finally fight this dude. Thankfully, Kofu should be a decent bit weaker than Iono, so we head right into the battle without much prep. We lead with Gengar against his Veluza. Hermie outspeeds and hits it with a super effective Hex, which just barely doesn't take it out, so we have to take some damage before finishing it off on the next turn. Next up is his Wugtrio, who also just barely survives a Hex. It fires back with the Water Pulse, which of course confuses us on the first contact. Then we hit ourselves in confusion and end up taking a super effective Mud Slap to the face. So we're forced to swap to Vaporeon and finish it off with a Quick Attack. Finally, Kofu brings in his Crabominable. It terastallizes and we use a Charm to drop its attack on that same turn. Then we start chipping away at it with some Surfs. We get good damage on it over the next few turns, but end up low enough that we need to swap to play it as safe as possible. So we bring in Wigglytuff, who lives through a Crab Hammer and seals the deal with a Body Slam. After securing that victory and proving our Vaporeon's Water-type dominance over Kofu, we kick off another surprise trade.
Ooh. Hisuian Growlithe is insane, actually.
Ooh boy.
Absolutely insanely good. Archie.
After the trade, we head over to the town of Medali in order to get as prepared as possible to face off against the next gym leader, Larry. This gets us enough experience that we're able to evolve Messi into its final form and then head in and fight Larry. For this fight, we have something particularly devious planned. We lead with Gengar against his lead Kamala, and on turn 1 it goes for a yawn as we kick off our evil strategy by using Perish Song. You see, this Kamala only has one attack that can actually hit Gengar, and that attack is Sucker Punch, which only works if we attack it back. So of course we don't do that and sit there till we wake up. Then we swap out our Gengar before the timer ticks to 0. We bring Gengar back in and use Spite to take out the rest of its Sucker Punch PP and watch as the Kamala goes to sleep forever.
You're dead.
Night-night! From here, Larry brings in his Dunsparce, so we swap to Vaporeon and drop its attack with the Charm, then hit it with a couple Surfs to take it out. Unfortunately, we get paralyzed and end up taking some pretty serious damage in the process. So as he brings in his Ace Staraptor, we swap to Arcanine, who intimidates it and drops its attack. This Arcanine is also part Rock type, which means it resists all of this bird's attacks and is able to take it out without much issue. Unfortunately for us, we don't get any time to celebrate our victory because right as we're walking out of the battle, Nimona forces us into a fight. We have to lead with Gengar against her Lycanroc because we didn't have any time to switch, which is a recipe for disaster as it hits us with a super effective bite. Thankfully though, our Curse Body activates and disables its bite. So on the next turn, we go for another Hex, and why is it faster? No! Hermie, no! What? Oh, totally forgot that move exists. RIP. We bring in Vaporeon and finish off the dog, then Nimona brings in Palmo, so we swap to Arcanine and intimidate it, then one Flare Blitz is more than enough to take it out. Next up is Goomy, who goes down to a couple Aurora Beams from Vaporeon, and now we have our Water type in against her Ace Skeledirge, which is a pretty great situation to be in. We capitalize on it and take it out with a couple Surfs. While we did manage to get the W, losing Gengar is still a pretty big loss for our team. But regardless, we get another surprise trade.
Goodbye, Hermie.
Oh,
Level 75. Okay, we can trade that away.
You know what? I will actually take that.
Hitting an electric type is pretty good. It's pretty good. Shinx more like stinks, am I right?
From here, we continue our way up to the top of Glaciato Mountain, where we train up our Tinkatuff into its final form. Then we get on stage and drop some serious bars until the gym leader Rhyme has no choice but to come out and face us in a rap battle. We obviously win that, then in a fit of rage, Rhyme lashes out against us and forces us into a double battle. Normally this fight is a cakewalk because you could Terastallize on the first turn and get an Omni boost to both of your Pokemon from the roaring crowd, but since we banned Terastallize terastallizing in this run, we have to play it a lot more safe. We lead with Arcanine and Tinkaton against her Mimikyu and Banette, which gives us an Intimidate on both of her Pokemon, making these two physical attackers a lot less effective. We take a Shadow Sneak and a Sucker Punch on Arcanine, but since they're intimidated, it does way less damage. Unfortunately though, Banette lives through a crunch, and our Tinkaton has the ability Mold Breaker, so it doesn't break the Mimikyu's disguise, which is definitely worse. But at the end of the turn, we get a boost from the crowd because of our super effective hit. The next turn, we take another Sucker Punch and Shadow Sneak, but finish off Banette with the Rock Slide that also breaks the Mimikyu's disguise. Instead of attacking with our second Pokemon Tinkaton, we opt to set up a Light Screen because we want to take out her next two Pokemon at the same time. On the next turn, a boosted critical crunch is more than enough to take out her Houndstone, and Gigaton Hammer finishes off her Mimikyu. That means that we're able to bring in her Ace Toxtricity all by its lonesome. That plus the damage reduction from our Light Screen makes this thing pretty much a non-factor.
Oh, it just one-shots.
Okay. Huh. Wow, that was way easier than I thought it was gonna be. After proving ourselves against Rhyme, we of course get another surprise trade.
All right, Wraith. Give me something good, please. Is that a shiny? It's not, I don't think, oh, it is a shiny. It is a hacked shiny, I believe.
As awesome as this shiny Froakie is, and as cool as it would be to have a perfect shiny Greninja on our team, we just have to pass on using the hacked Pokemon.
No, I'm not gonna trade it, I'm just gonna release it.
So we trade again and end up with Girl Stanley the Stantler. Unfortunately, there's no way to evolve Stantler outside of Legends Arceus, so we're kinda just stuck with this dud of a deer. Regardless, we head up to Alfrenata to take on the next gym. But before we can do that, you already know it's just about time for another Nemona battle. We lead with Vaporeon against her Lycanroc, and before it has the chance to do anything crazy, we take it out with a Surf. Next, she sends in her fully evolved Pawmot, so we bring in Wigglytuff, who gets paralyzed by a Thunder Wave on the first turn. We hope that Body Slam is able to two-shot, but it's not quite enough. And to make matters worse, we get fully paralyzed on the second turn, so we have to swap to Messi, who tanks a Spark, then smacks it with the Pyro Ball. Next up is Sliggoo, so we're forced to bring Vaporeon in and trade Dragon Pulses for Aurora Beams. After a few turns, we come out on top. Finally, she sends in her Ace Skeledirge. This is a good matchup for us, but at this point, we're too low to risk staying in, so we bring in Arcanine, who 4 times resists all of its Fire-type attacks. This effectively neutralizes her Skeledirge, and even with the miss on Rock Slide, we're able to easily take it out. After beating Nemona, we brace ourselves for some serious emotional bonding with our Pokemon. After getting uncomfortably close with our Arcanine, we head in to take on the Beauty Queen Tulip. We send in Arcanine against her lead Farigiraf and drop its attack with an Intimidate. This makes its Zen Headbutt do barely any damage as we finish it with a couple crunches. From here, she sends in Gardevoir, so we swap to Tinkaton, who tanks a hit and smacks it with the Gigaton Hammer. Next up is Espathra, or at least I think it's Espathra. Tinkaton's hammer is literally so big it blocks me from being able to see it. Regardless, we take it out with the classic combo of Play Rough and Gigaton Hammer. Finally, Tulip sends in her Ace Florges. Feeling bold, we keep Tinkaton in and two-shot this thing with a Gigaton Hammer and a Play Rough without too much issue. And that victory, of course, means another surprise trade. We're getting all the most insane fire types.
I'm gonna name it Andy after the fine hero who sent it to me.
We take our new Fire Lizard over to the Fields of Chansey, and finally we evolve it to its final form. Getting another fire type is perfect timing as we head back up to the top of Glaciato Mountain to fight the next gym leader, Grusha. But first, a little skiing. After the perfect run, we get our shot at the last gym leader, Grusha. We lead with Arcanine, who easily takes out his lead Frostmoth with the 4 times effective Rock Slide. Next up, he sends in Beartic, who has Earthquake, which is extremely scary for our Arcanine, so we make a swap to Charizard, who's immune. We blast it with a Flamethrower on the next turn, which just barely doesn't kill, meaning we have to take big damage from an Icicle Crash. But not to worry, we finish it off with another Flamethrower on the next turn. From here, Grusha brings in Satitan. Predicting a liquidation, we swap to Vaporeon, who sucks up the attack with its ability Water Absorb. Then we use our resistance to ice attacks to stay in and 3-shot this Snowball with Surf. Finally, he's down to his last Pokemon, Altaria, who comes in and terastallizes. We take a couple Hurricanes as we get some decent damage with Surf, but we get too low and have to send in Messi, who comes in and immediately gets confused by Hurricane.
Oh, confuse. Yeah, it's fine. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. We've never hit ourselves in confusion before. Not one time. Oh, no. No. Okay. I've never hit myself in confusion before, ever. Yes! Easy.
Easy. I was never worried. With Grusha out of the way, we get our final surprise trade. Let's hope it's a good one.
Ooh, we have a lot of fire types. Have a lot of fire types.
With the final trade complete, at this point, all we have left is the Elite Four and the Champion. But before we get to that, we head back to the Chansey Fields and get our team into shape.
Is that a shiny? Oh my god. Let's go. I should surprise trade this away, right? Just for the culture, right? Ooh, I'll take a masculine.
With our team fully juiced, we make our way up to face our final challenge. We pass our written exam, then head in to face our first opponent, Rika. We lead with Wigglytuff against her Whiscash, and after tanking an Earth Power, we one-shot it with the 4x effective Trailblaze. From here, Rika sends in Camerupt. Anticipating an Earthquake, we swap in Charizard, but we end up taking a Yawn on the switch, so we bring in Vaporeon to avoid going sleepy time. Vaporeon dodges a Fire Blast, then one-shots with a Surf. Next in is Donphan, who comes in and hits us as we set up a couple acid armors. These armors shield us as we're able to heal up with our leftovers. After getting our defense boosted, we smack it with a Surf, but it survives thanks to its ability Sturdy. Not to worry, we take it out with a second Surf. Vaporeon one-shots Dugtrio as it sets up a Sandstorm for some reason. Then finally, Rika is down to her last Pokemon, Clodsire, which we find out has the ability Water Absorb after we try to hit it with a Surf. Unfortunate. We get poisoned with Toxic, but stay in a few turns and get some decent damage with Aurora Beam. Eventually, we're forced to swap to Charizard and finish it off with a couple flamethrowers. After beating Rika, Poppy waddles her little legs into the fray. Thankfully, we have a healthy helping of fire types to use against her steel-type Pokemon. We lead with Pyroar against her Caparaja. This elephant should be light work for a flamethrower from Pyroar. Oh. Okay. Thankfully, we survived the high horsepower and we're able to finish it on the next turn. From here, Bronzong comes in and we're too low to stay in, so we have to swap to Vaporeon, who tanks through its Zen Headbutts and takes it out with a few Surfs. Next up is Magnezone, so we have to nope our Water Dog out and bring in Messy. It's got Sturdy, so it lives through a Pyro Ball, but we finish it off no problemo. We one-shot our next Pokemon, Corviknight, with another Pyro Ball. Then finally, Tinkaton is the last one to enter the fray. We swap to Arcanine to land an Intimidate and drop its attack before it terastallizes, then we outspeed it with a Flare Blitz and one-shot it to take the fight home. After Poppy, the difficulty of the Elite Four for our team really starts to ramp up, starting with Larry, who is a serious step up from Poppy. So before starting the fight, we swap the team around and bring Luxray and Tinkaton instead of Messy and Pyroar, then hope for the best as we face off with our king. We bring Charizard against his Tropius and one-shot it with the Flamethrower on the first turn. Next up is Staraptor, who gets big damage on us with a critical Brave Bird, but it's not all bad. That lets us one-shot it with the Flamethrower thanks to the recoil damage. At this point, Charizard is too low, so we swap to Luxray as Larry brings in Oricorio. We resist a Revelation Dance and take it out with a couple Sparks, no problem. From here, Larry brings in his Altaria, so we bring in Vaporeon, who tanks some hits with its high special defense and two-shots the Flying Dragon with a couple 4x effective Aurora Beams. Finally, with his back against the wall, Larry brings in his Ace Flamigo, who terastallizes. We swap to Arcanine to get an Intimidate on it and hopefully resist the flying type attack that it would use because, you know, it terastallized into a flying type. But no, for some reason it passes on using the boosted flying damage and reads our switch, opting to go for a close combat.
I've never seen this. Close combat.
No, Archie, no. Rip. At this point, we don't really have any great options, so we're forced to make a risky swap to Tinkaton and hope that it can live somehow.
If we live this, we kill. Okay. Yeah. Easily.
Whew! With Larry defeated, our toughest opponent by far steps into the battle zone. We make sure to take our time and get our held items and teams straight before starting the battle. We bring our fairy types and hope for the best as we step up to take on Hassel. Against his Noivern, we bring Wigglytuff, who takes half of its HP from a Super Fang. But not to worry, we clap back with the 4x effective Ice Spinner, taking it out in one shot. From here, Hassel brings in his Dragalge. Anticipating a poison attack, we bring in Tinkaton, who immunes through it and takes it out over the next next couple turns with a Gigaton Hammer and a play rough. Next up is Haxorus, who has Iron Head. Anticipating a steel attack, we swap to Pyroar to resist it. We tank the hit, then get hit by a Rock Tomb as we get good damage with a Hyper Voice. One more Hyper Voice should do it. Oh yeah. Rock Tomb drops your speed. Rip. Thankfully, we can just bring in Messi and finish it with a double kick doesn't kill? Oh my god. Okay, like I said, finish it with a double kick. Next in is Flapple, who just barely survives a Pyro Ball and lands a Leech Seed. But we finish it with another ball on the next turn. Unfortunately, the Leech Seed forces us to swap as he brings in his Ace-Back Excalibur. Thinking this dragon will go for a Glaive Rush, we bring in Tinky, who immunes through it with its OP type combo. Then we smack it with a Gigaton Hammer and a Play Rough, which leaves it super low, but still up and causing problems. At this point, we're too low to stay in, so we have to swap to Vaporeon and hope that we can live through a Glaive Rush and take it out. Glaive Rush doesn't kill us, right? It doesn't kill us. I've never seen us die to Glaive Rush before. Good thing it didn't crit. Oh my god. With Hassel defeated, we just have one last thing left to do. It all comes down to this, the final showdown with the champion Geeta. We prepare as much as we can, then send out our Tinkaton against her lead as Pathra. Turn 1, we take a Lumina Crash to the face as we fire back with the Skitter Smack. This is not a great situation since Lumina Crash harshly drops our special attack and Skitter Smack only lowers its special attack by 1 stage. Thankfully, after a Gigaton Hammer, it goes down on the next turn. Next in is our Avalugg, who we predict will go for an Earthquake, so we make a swap to Charizard, who's immune. Then we take it out with a super effective Flamethrower. From here, she sends in King Gambit, so we stay in and fire off another Flamethrower, hoping that it'll kill. It didn't kill. I thought for sure that would kill. Unlucky for sure. We bounce back and bring Messi in to finish it with a double kick. Next in is Veluza, so we switch to Vaporeon, who resists its liquidation. After making the switch, we realize we made a kinda stupid choice and swap to Luxray, who intimidates it and takes a Psycho Cut to the face. But we hit it with a Spark, then finish it off with a Volt Switch, which allows us to bring in Messi against her next Pokemon Go-Go. We outspeed this farm animal and take it out with a single Pyro Ball. Now she's down to just her last Pokemon Glimmora. We swap to Wigglytuff, who lives through an Earth Power, then predicting a Sludge Wave, we swap to Tinkaton. But it goes for a Dazzling Gleam, which is fine because we resist it. Ideally, we're faster and hit it with a Gigaton Hammer. Oh, we're not faster, Liv! Yes! Gigaton? Yeah. I think we just have to sack. We just have to sack. You served us well. You served us well. Goodbye, Tinky Inky. After that meaningful sacrifice, we bring in Messi, who finishes out the fight with one final double kick. Gotcha. And just like that, we've survived the Nuzlocke and officially beaten Pokemon Violet using only surprise trade Pokemon. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. Till next time.